This court is again in session.
Please be seated. The record will reflect that the parties are present with counsel and ready to proceed. Ms. Mahan, which witness would you like to call?
Joshua Welch, Your Honor, it's right outside the door.
Step right here, remain standing, face the court clerk for swearing in, please.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated. I was watching. It's like, no, your other right hand.
Mr. Welch, there should be some water there and a cup if you need it. Would you state your name and spell your last name for the record, please?
My name is Joshua Allen Welch. That's W-E-L-C-H.
And how old are you, Mr. Welch?
I am 29.
And how long have you known Keith McDowell, approximately?
Since I was about 11.
And how long have you known Tawny McDowell?
About since I was about 11.
And was there ever a time when you were a client of 24 TLC?
Yes.
And approximately what time frame was that?
About when I think 2005, maybe earlier. I don't remember.
So you were a group home client.
Yes,
And were you also a group home client of Rivendell?
I was not.
What was your, but you did have ongoing involvement with Rivendell?
Yes.
And how were you involved? In what manner?
Originally I came in as a tenant. And then I showed that I had the abilities with computers, that I could work on them really well. And then it was felt that I would be a good asset at the time to work on computers. And it progressed there to being a residential aide and the duties of a residential aide, supervising and
At this time, are you working for Rivendell?
no.
When were you last working for Rivendell?
I stopped working for Rivendell at February 14th.
Of this year, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, I'd like for you to explain to the court a little bit about, well, strike that. So you have lived both as a residential aide for Rivendell, and then you also said in the beginning, I asked you were you ever a client for Rivendell, and you said no, but you said you were a tenant. Can you explain the difference?
As a tenant, I didn't have to go to any of the independent living classes or other classes that were required for clients at the time, because I'd already completed a bunch of those in group homes and other facilities I'd lived in when I was younger. So it wasn't felt that I needed those classes at the time. I did attend some voluntarily, but I wasn't required to go.
Now, tell me about your duties as a residential aide. What does that involve?
I made sure that the residents were safe in the facility. If there was any issues, I had to write them up in a format that we were given. I took care of medications. I made certain clients meals. Made sure certain people got up on certain times or went to bed at certain times. Mostly it was supervisory. So I just supervised the house, made sure nothing bad happened, and anything that did happen, I had to write up a report.
Were there certain hours that you were expected to be at that house?
Yes.
What house are we talking about?
Crown Canyon.
Were you an RA anywhere else other than Crown Canyon?
In Rohan, I was. On Rohan.
Okay, so let's just talk about Crown Canyon for a moment. How many bedrooms does Crown Canyon have?
I believe it has 5.
And Crown Canyon, is it, can you give me just a couple cross streets, generally where it's located in Reno?
Crown Canyon is on, I believe, Crown Canyon and Kings Row.
So is that up above North McCarran?
Yes.
And you said it has 4 bedrooms?
I believe it has 5.
5. And when you were there, and when did you strike that? Did you go basically straight from Crown Canyon to Rohan Ranch?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there might have been a little time in between, but.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me approximately when that was that you left Crown Canyon and went to Rohan Ranch?
It was May or June of 2010.
Okay. And you stated, I believe, that as a residential aide at Crown Canyon, you were expected to be there during certain times. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And is that because part of your job is to supervise individuals?
Yes.
And how many clients were in the house prior to you going to Rohan Ranch?
I don't remember the right number. Think about it for a second. The numbers varied. I think between 6 and 8.
And what is, were there times that there were more than that?
Not very often. I mean, I believe that the most I ever remember seeing there was maybe, I don't remember if it's more than 8, to be honest.
And are these group homes same-sex or co-ed?
Same.
And as a same-sex one, do they often have do they have 2 people in a bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. Is that common in your experience?
Yes.
You said you left Rohan in February of this year, correct?
Yes.
When you left, how many clients were on Rohan?
I believe 5, and there was a female client too, but I'm not sure if she was a client or a tenant.
What is her first name?
I honestly don't remember her name.
Is it Monica?
No. I didn't really associate with her very often.
Okay. And what was your job description at Rohan Ranch?
My job description at Rohan Ranch was residential aide and peer leader. I would show clients how to do stuff, and I would do it with them. That's pretty much what my job description was.
And what would an average day be like, just in terms of when you would typically start and when you would finish and have, free time of your own, basically?
We were supposed to start at, I think we were supposed to get up at 8 o'clock, be up at the Red House for breakfast with all the clients, including staff, by 9 o'clock. And then between 9 and 10, we'd have a morning meeting and breakfast. Sometimes it went past that and we didn't start until 10:30 or 11 to work, but after that we would go from about 11 to 1 or 2, and then we'd have lunch, and then after that we'd go until about 4 or 5, depending on how long it took to finish the work.
And when you say we would go until 4 or 5, what does that mean?
Oh, that would mean we would different things every day. Some days we might stack or cut wood or bundle wood. Other days we might go rake leaves or help lay a fence line or pick apples, cherries, all sorts of different fruit trees.
So it would be fair to say then, maintenance on the property was a large part of the client's responsibilities?
Yeah. Clients and myself.
Okay, and what would happen, let's just say for instance, if you were supposed to, I'm sorry, what did you say you were supposed to do at 8? Is that wake up or be someplace at 8?
Wake up, get dressed, get the other clients up.
Take them to breakfast?
Yes.
What would happen if you just slept in and didn't get the clients up and you and the people you were supervising did not show up at breakfast?
Honestly, I mean, that is a problem I had. I most of the time, not much. I mean, I would get told that I need to fix that and that I need to start being more on time. That as a peer leader, I was required to be a leader. And that would be, I'd be told that I'd just be instructed that I need to fix that.
Would you please turn in that big blue book right there to what is marked as Exhibit R. And once you get there, and if you wouldn't mind putting that, bring it down to the table in front of you, because that way your voice will be closer to the So if you could just sort of page through that, I'll give you a moment to look at it before I ask you a couple questions. Now that you've had a chance to look at that, do you recognize what these pages represent? You know where they came from?
Yeah, it looks like they came from the company website.
And that would be the Rivendell Independent Living Incorporated website?
Yes, it
And
would.
Are you very familiar with that website?
I am. I mean, I didn't program it or nothing, but I have visited the site a number of times.
And can you tell by looking at these pages what date they appear to have been printed?
3/14/2012.
Is that in the bottom right-hand corner?
Yes.
Okay. Would you please turn to, look at, in the bottom right-hand corners, the pages are numbered. Would you please turn to page 12. Page 11, the page before that.
Okay.
That page references something called a virtual academy. Do you know what that is?
I do know the plan to start the virtual academy, though I myself was not too involved with it. So the most I know about it is that it's something that was being set up.
Okay. Do you know what it was supposed to accomplish? Is it basically services that are delivered through the internet?
Yes.
I'm going to object. Questions leading.
Sustained.
Okay, would you then turn please to the page after page 7? I apologize, it's not numbered, but it's pictures and photographs.
Okay.
What is that photograph?
That is the main house of the ranch, Rohan Ranch.
Who lives in that house?
Tanya, her parents, and her son.
Turn to the next page. Is that a different view of the main house?
Yes.
Would you turn to the following page? What is that, if you know?
That is the Columbia River.
And is that bordering the ranch or nearby the ranch, or do you know?
I don't know. I don't recognize this view.
Okay,
I-
but do you know this to be a picture that is on the website?
No.
Okay. Do you know who that person, well, do you see the bottom?
Yes.
Does the printing on the bottom of the picture indicate that it's from the gallery, Rohan Ranch Gallery on the website?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know who that person is standing on the left-hand side of the picture?
It looks like it is Clay.
Who is Clay?
Clay was a former staff. He was supposed to be staff.
How about the next page? Is that from Rohan, the property in Rohan Ranch?
Yes.
So what is that?
That is part of the grape orchard. Grapevine orchard.
Now, you've mentioned staff several times. How much staff, when you left Rohan Ranch, was there?
I'm gonna object no foundation for personal knowledge as to whether or not he knows who was staff, whether or not they were staff. It's really an objection.
You
to
can
foundation.
lay the foundation.
Were you working as a staff person at Rohan Ranch?
Yes.
And during that time, were you the only staff person at Rohan Ranch?
No.
Were there other staff people
Yes.
that you worked alongside?
Yes.
How many?
3.
So when you left, there were 3?
Yes.
And at times, let's see, you said, I believe that you arrived there in the middle of 2010, and you left just this past February. So that's almost 2 years. During that time, did the number of staff increase or decrease?
It increased from when I first arrived.
Okay. And did the other staff people have your same job title in terms of residential aid, or were there?
1. The other 2, I no. There was one staff who was my supervisor. Then there was another who was more maintenance oriented. He was also teaching me and clients what it is that we didn't know, so we could take those duties, so we could do stuff that we couldn't do. And then there was a cook that was cooking meals and prepping meals.
Okay. Your Honor, I would request that plaintiff's exhibit R be admitted.
I'm gonna object lack of foundation and lack of personal knowledge as evidenced by this client who says he is not 100% sure if this is the content of the website as it is today.
Your Honor, I don't.
Lay some more foundation, counsel.
Do you have any knowledge that the website is, you know what, I really didn't, I don't understand the second half of her objection about the website today. I don't understand that. If she could repeat it, maybe I didn't.
I mean, my biggest concern is lack of foundation.
This was printed on March 14th.
Correct.
He indicates he left a month before that.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Welch, have you had occasion, prior to seeing this website here today, if you had to guess, when would you say the last time was that you saw the website?
Probably just before I left. I was visiting a friend, and I was checking to see if I had been reinstated on the website or removed from the website still, and that was the last time I checked it.
Okay, so since that day that you checked it, and what you see right now, have there been changes made to the best of your recollection?
No, there isn't.
Okay, and on that day that you say you remember checking it because you wanted to see if you were still on it, were you still on it?
No, I was not.
But prior to that, you had been on it, correct?
The last time I saw my name listed under an employee of Rivendell was around November. Well, before that, I had checked it in November and realized that I wasn't on the list, and I was kind of, well, what's going on? And so that's the last time I saw my name on there.
But to your knowledge, in looking at this version that's been presented here today, this is the same version that,
I saw November.
or no, that you saw, I think you said shortly after you left when you were checking to see if you had been removed.
Yes, it is.
I would request plaintiff's exhibit R be admitted.
Your Honor, I still object on the basis that this one photograph, he clearly did not identify as being on this website from before, and in fact seemed inconsistent that even knew where it was taken from. I would question whether or not he's actually reviewed this website as it is. And so I guess,
I would stipulate that that photo not be entered, but he identified the rest.
The court's admitting the exhibit minus the photograph of the Columbia River. And counsel, that's exhibit R.
that's correct.
Yes. Now, are there horses on the Rohan Ranch?
Yes.
How many?
5.
And does Rohan or Rivendell or somebody provide hay and supplies for those horses?
Yes.
And is that something that you found at all troubling?
It was. I was a little upset. I mean, I liked the horses, don't get me wrong. I think they should be. I just felt a little upset that there was more time being spent to keep the horses going. I understand they were part of the ranch, so it was needed, but I felt that I deserved a little compensation as well. I requested to make maybe $150 extra a month is what I had asked for.
When
And
you say extra, let me stop you for a minute. You say extra. So what were you making besides that?
nothing outside of a place to stay.
Okay, so you stay on the property and you do the residential aid duties that you told me about.
Yes.
And in exchange, when you went there, what was your understanding of what sort of compensation you would get?
When I didn't have much of an agreement. Well, when I first started working for the company, it was agreed that I'd be get paid a certain amount every month over what it is I work for rent. So if it took me 45 hours to work for my rent, then I would get anything over that 45 in cash. And if I didn't work that amount, then I would have to pay her back what it is that I owed. There was no set amount of money I was supposed to work or get hourly. I was told that I was getting minimum wage.
Do you believe that's true?
I don't,
Why not?
because it didn't add up. I mean, I tried to figure out the math for how much I was working when I was keeping track of time cards, and the amount that I was working wasn't working out to $560 something a month. It was coming out to it more, even when I was adding it up to less than minimum wage.
Where'd you pull that figure, $560 a month from?
Initially, when I had moved in a few months after, from the contract that I signed for my lease agreement,
Your lease agreement with
Tanya.
Tanya or Rivendell?
Yes.
Yes. And do you know, if you know, do the clients sign lease agreements?
Yes.
And tenants sign lease agreements, correct?
Yes.
And what is the amount that you know them to be for the rent amount?
Object, lack of foundation for personal knowledge.
Do you know what the other clients and tenants, what the amount of their rent is?
$565.
Okay, is that approximate, could it be?
Yes.
It could be.
There's
Where does that
some
amount
change
come
in the
from?
dollars.
I mean, do you know how that got set? Do you know?
It was for general rent, utilities, and internet.
Are there people who get SSD?
Yes.
What is typically the amount of their payment?
I don't have.
I'm gonna object again, lack of foundation as to how you would know this information.
Mr. Welch, do you as a staff member interact on a regular basis with clients and tenants of Vermondale?
Yes, I do.
Do you share information with each other about the amount of the lease or the amount that some of them are getting from SSD?
Yes.
And what is the amount that you know SSD checks to be based on your experience working in this company?
I'm gonna object, Your Honor, on the basis of the information he's about to provide sounds like hearsay. The foundation she's providing is it's based on his conversations with other clients, therefore that would be out of court statements and hearsay.
I don't believe it's based just on his client, it's based on his personal experience.
I actually don't know the answer to that question. I don't know the exact amount that they get in Social Security.
Okay.
Then the objection's moot.
Yeah, okay, that's fine, all right. So, you obviously are no longer there. And you were talking about being disturbed about, oh, strike that. When you first got to Rohan Ranch, were there horses?
Yes.
Was there a vehicle on the ranch?
We brought it up when I came up.
So there is a vehicle on the ranch now.
Yes.
How would you describe that vehicle?
It is a teal colored older truck, I think 80s.
And I shouldn't say now, I should say as of the time you left in February of 2011, there was a vehicle regularly being used?
It had died, so it's been sitting for a couple months. But when I first initially got up there, we had that truck up there with us. We brought the U-Haul trailer with us. Or not a U-Haul trailer, but a trailer full of my property and other clients' property. So yes, there was a truck brought up there, and it was left up there, and we used it.
Okay. And when you were at Rohan Ranch, would you and the other clients or tenants or workers discuss matters that concerned you?
Each other, yes. Myself and them.
Amongst yourselves, you would?
Yes.
And based on that, is it your perception that you are the only one who felt that you weren't actually getting paid to be?
No.
I'm gonna object, leading, and the answer's based on hearsay.
It is leading. She's asking for his perception. She hasn't asked what anybody else has specifically said, so I'm overruling the second part of the question, or the objection.
Do you have a perception, based on your dealings with your coworkers up there, do you have a perception as to whether or not they feel that they are being compensated for their labor?
Do I have the perception?
Do you have an opinion, one way or another, about if others feel the same way you do?
I have the knowledge that other people feel the way I do. It's been stated to me numerous times, not since I was up there, but since I was in Reno as well.
And sir,
Well, up there and in
Sir,
Reno.
sir.
Strike any portion that involves statements of other individuals.
Granted.
I'm sorry.
That's correct. You didn't do it in front. And he hadn't started saying that. He was just saying he had been speaking to people. What you can't do is say, or you might be able to do it, but someone could object. You can't say what somebody else told you, but you can talk about your own perceptions based on, just your experience on the property. Who else is living on that property that are not clients or tenants or workers?
Are there other staff?
Are there other relatives of Ms. McDowell?
Just her parents and her son.
Okay. And is Billy Lyons one of the staff members?
Yes.
And do you, if you know, or at least when you left, what was her job title?
She was my supervisor. She was the facility supervisor. for the other staff and clients.
Would you please look at what has been marked? Plaintiff's Exhibit K. Take a moment, and then I'll ask you a couple questions. Do you recognize this?
Yes, this would be a previous version of the website.
Of the Rivendell website?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this a version that you are familiar with based on the time that you worked there?
Yes.
What is the date in the bottom right-hand corner that this appears to have been printed?
January 1st, 2011.
Okay. And would you please turn to page 4? Okay, and I'm talking about what's marked in the bottom right-hand corner, not, don't look at the top, but the bottom right-hand corner. But it happens to be the same in this case, but are you there?
Yes,
And there's a name in the middle, Ben Gardenhire. Do you know who that is?
I do.
Who is that?
That is Tanya's brother.
Okay, thank you. And then on the next page, you'll see the name Billy Lyons, is that the person that I just spoke to you about?
Yes.
And she is listed there as camp supervisor, correct?
Yes.
And this was printed, okay. And then 2 names below that is your name, correct?
Yes.
So when you said that you were looking at the website this past February to see if you were still on it, is this what you were referring to?
Yes.
And so you were on it, obviously, in January of 2011, but you are not on it now, correct?
Yes.
On that same page, there's someone named Daniel Hilliard. Who is that in relation to Miss McDowell?
That would be, I don't know. I know who she's married to, but I don't know who he's married to, but I don't know what her relation is to Miss Tanya.
Okay, so that's fine. He's married, is he married, who is he married to?
Peggy?
And as far as you know, is either one of them a blood relation of Tanya McDowell?
Yes.
Which one?
Peggy.
What is Peggy's blood relationship to Miss McDowell?
I don't know what the relationship is. I know that she's a part of the family.
Okay, that's fine, thank you. Jeremy Fairbanks, do you know that person?
Not in person, no, I don't.
Diana, the bottom name, do you know that person?
No, I don't.
Okay, will you turn to what's marked in the bottom right-hand corner as page 10? Do you think this, I would imagine, have you had the occasion to see this web page, this particular page before from the website?
I have.
Do you feel like it accurately, based on your experience living there, does it accurately describe the property?
I believe it's 44 acres.
Okay.
But otherwise,
Structures?
yes.
And I think you stated before that when I asked you, I showed you a picture of a yellow house, and you said that was the big house, that's where Tanya and her family live?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. And then, if you go down further on this page under structures, we get to a part where it says 5 cabins, all with concrete slabs, lodgepole pine insulated double pane windows, 1 with a full bath tied into a septic system. Who lives in the cabins?
Clients live in all the cabins with the exception of one, and that is the one with the bathroom. For a while, that cabin was kept empty, and when I left, there was I don't know what this person's position was because it was not made clear to any of the other to me. So I'm not sure if he was a staff or a client living in that moved into there.
And so when the clients have to go to the bathroom, that's where they go?
No,
Where do they go?
the bathhouse, which isn't really very far away. I mean, it is where we would all go.
Okay, I see. Is that what's described under structures as hall? or
Yeah.
shower?
Yes.
Okay. And so you guys called that the bathhouse?
Yeah. Well, we called it the cookhouse.
And so is that where you would take the clients to eat breakfast? Or
No.
would it be someplace else?
This is where we would eat at night if we did not want to go up to the Red House. Breakfast and lunch, we were required to be up there. And dinner time, we had the choice whether we wanted to eat up there or eat our food down there or at the cookhouse.
Do you believe an adequate amount of food is provided to the clients and the staff?
I do. Yeah.
Would there be, when you were at Rohan Ridge, would the clients be taken on outings off the property?
No.
To the best of your knowledge, would Ms. McDowell and any of the other staff members go off the property for social or recreational reasons?
I know that they would leave.
Your Honor, objection, lack of foundation as to personal knowledge and believing.
She just asked the question if he had knowledge. And it's foundational, I'm gonna permit it.
I know that they left. Where they go, I don't know. That's as far as the knowledge I go. I know that at least once a week, but multiple times a month, they left. Some of the staff or Tanya would leave to go do something off of the property. That's as far as the knowledge I have of that goes.
And once they returned, regardless of whether you knew what exactly they did you have an impression of whether they had a good time?
Yes. I want to give more information, but I don't know.
That's all right, just answer the question as I asked. Did you have the impression they had a good time? And then you said yes. My follow-up question would be to that. What did you observe that led you to believe they had a good time?
Well, they just came back in just really good mood. Like he had just gotten some stress off. Like he just went and did something relaxing or fun.
Did they seem ever to have been inebriated?
Object, Your Honor, relevance. I mean, this is a divorce case. I'm not really sure what relevance that has to the parties' division of property, the value of this business, or anything else.
Sustained.
Do I get to respond to the objection before?
I'm not finding any relevance to it, so.
Okay. Would you please turn to what's marked as plaintiffs, I apologize. I move for acceptance, Your Honor, admittance of Exhibit K.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit K will be admitted.
Will you turn to what's marked as plaintiff's Exhibit E, please?
I'm sorry, that was what?
E.
E, thank you.
I'll give you a moment to look at it, and then I will ask you a few questions. this is?
Yes.
What is it?
This is her business advisor coach. His website.
His website.
Yes.
Are you familiar with that website? Have you been there before?
I have been there before.
Okay. And have you seen these particular pages of the website before? Now, I'm only talking about pages in this exhibit. What are marked in the bottom right-hand corner as 6 through 9. I'm not talking about anything after that. Are those pages that you are familiar with?
I am familiar with pages 7 and 9.
Okay.
What?
In reviewing and in your familiarity with this website, what is your opinion about how Ms. McDowell's business is doing?
Sorry, are you asking based upon what's written in this website, his opinion?
I can rephrase the question.
I would.
Do you have an opinion about whether or not the business that Ms. Rivendell operates is flourishing?
Yes.
How do you think it's doing?
I'm really at a loss. I don't know how to answer that because what was presented to me was that the company isn't doing very well. But then what I read when I was looking at the website last year in November was different than what was being presented to me. So I don't know how to feel or what my observation is.
Okay. But in your experiences of previously viewing this website, does this appear to be what you viewed before?
No, what I viewed before has changed from what I'm
Is
seeing
it
now.
more now than what it was before? Or
Yes.
It's more now.
I mean, what's written here is different than what I saw when I looked. So I can't vouch for what I'm seeing right here.
Okay. There's nothing on this that was the same?
Objection, Your Honor. Question is ambiguous and vague as to what she's referring to and she's asking.
Is there anything on page 7 of this exhibit, by 7 I mean in the bottom right-hand corner when it's turned, that is something that you know to be on this website?
No.
So there's nothing on page 7 that is what you saw written before,
No.
okay? How about, now, earlier you said 7 and 9, but now you've looked at it closer?
Well, the reason is because all that I remember ever seeing on this website was a statement saying that she made a whole lot more money, and the exact number I don't even remember, but a lot of more money than what's always been presented to me that Tanya makes. And that's not the information that I see here, so I'm not really, I guess, I don't know.
Okay, so that's fine. I have to do that a different way. did you voluntarily leave the premises at Rohan?
Yes.
Or- Yes. And were you threatened when you left?
Not when I left, but in the time that I was there, I wasn't physically threatened. I was told that I could leave anytime I wanted. I just didn't see how that was possible. I was told,
Can you explain why you didn't see how that was possible?
because I have no family, and I really don't have any friends. I mean, I have a couple. I can count them on one hand who I call a friend. And none of them were because I was in the middle of nowhere, and I have no car, and I have no money saved up. So there was no way for me to really leave unless I wanted to be walking homeless to the closest city, which was way too far to walk home, and reasonably.
And so I believe a moment ago you stated that you were not physically threatened,
Right.
but that you were threatened in some manner.
Well, I was told that I had violated some laws in regards to HIPAA, and that she could have me arrested right there. And she did have me arrested a long time ago because I stole. And this was in the beginning of 2003. And she used that scenario as a means to show other people how serious she was about what she's doing in front of me and other clients. That's the kind of threats I would get.
So basically, she would bring up, paraphrasing what you say, she would bring up what she knew about your past and state that she could have you sent to jail or other people?
Other people, and she at one point said that because I was talking to Keith, that she could have me arrested for violating HIPAA laws.
So you were, and I believe you stated earlier that you've known Keith since you were about 11 years old,
Yes,
and you have positive feelings for him,
I do.
and throughout most of the time since in the past 11 years, how would you characterize your feelings towards Ms. McDowell?
I'm gonna object on the basis this is more prejudicial than probative, and it's also not relevant to the issues involving the parties' divorce and division of assets.
Your Honor, I'm in the process of establishing a pattern and illustrating what I believe is nothing more than a way for third-party individuals to be, their money to be going to this person for the, mostly the comfort and pleasure of her family. And part of that, and I have had to go to these lengths to get this information because of the myriad of things that were not provided to me, and the very limited resources and ways about going this case that I have been able to do based on the ability of my client. So I do think it's relevant that whether or not he was threatened and why, especially since it has to do with this litigation.
I am still very unclear what it has to do with. I mean, the parties have debt that needs to be divided. If he's claiming there's waste for the debt, which is the impression I get from the trial statement, then we need to have evidence and facts as to why it is that he thinks that my client wasted it. I mean, we're talking about something, I mean, this is a former employee thinks appeared to not have ended well, has very little to do with what the parties' assets and debts are.
And you can cross-examine him on those issues, but I'm going to overrule the objection. Go ahead, Ms. Mahan. Actually, we're going to stop for the lunch hour. We'll be back at 1:30.
Your Honor, I would ask that this court give the witness the instruction of not discussing what he's testified to with any other witnesses or with the parties during this break as well, since he wasn't here for the original instruction.
Right. Sirs, we have exercised the rule of exclusion in this case.
So I can't say anything to anybody.
Right. You can't talk to anybody during the lunch hour, nor can you talk to anyone after you leave who still needs to be a witness in this case.
Okay.
Okay, that doesn't prevent you from speaking with Ms. Mahan. You are more than welcome to do so.
Okay.
All right, this matter's in recess.
All rise.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, until what time?
1:30.